What's an encounter with a celebrity you've had where they were an absolute dick? I was sitting in the lounge in one of the big music studios in Hollywood, and Bruno Mars walked up, looks at me, and says, "Where the fuck is my cab?" I looked at him and said, "Who the fuck are you?" I really had no idea who he was, haha. But dude did act like an absolute dick. Nicest guy ever, Billy Ray Cyrus. The studio had a policy that you're never supposed to touch the food any of the artists order or bring in, and you're especially not supposed to take any home. As I was leaving, he slipped me 2 huge meat and cheese trays out the door when no one was looking. As an intern trying to make it as an audio engineer, that sustained me for almost 2 weeks. Oprah didn't tip me on a $200 lunch. Instead, she signed a napkin for me and acted like she was doing me a huge favor. The kicker was, when she walked in, they gave away all of my other tables, so she didn't have to wait for anything. So I made $4 an hour for 2 hours for the privilege of serving Oprah, and she goes on and on about signing a napkin for me that I never asked for. Used to work at a Hard Rock hotel. Mariah Carey was the absolute definition of a fucking diva. She used a bunch of employee passageways, and we were instructed that if we looked her in the eyes, we would get written up. We were also told that we had to immediately vacate any room that she entered, even if we were in the cafeteria on break or in the bathroom doing our business. She's an asshole on top of that too. A few of her backup dancers accused her of sexual assault during Me Too, and nothing ever came of it. Back in the 90s, I worked on the stage musical production of Beauty and the Beast. The guy who played the talking clock is an Australian celebrity by the name of Bert Newton. He always used to say hi and make conversation until he found out I was one of the lighting crew. After that, he wouldn't even glance at me. Slightly related. On the same show, I used to hang out with the dude that played Gaston at stage door having a ciggy during interval. I only recently discovered that it was Hugh Jackman. Really nice dude. Probably 10 or 11 years ago, I was working BTS of a WWE house show. My job was to find the contest winners and bring them to introduce them to a couple of the bigger stars. My immediate report went to Ricky Steamboat, who was incredible. I had a question for him, don't remember what it was anymore, but he was standing there talking to Chris Jericho, not wanting to be rude. I stood to the side, waiting for their conversation to end before I interrupted. Jericho stopped mid-sentence, looked at me, and said, "Are you fucking lost?" When Ricky turned around to see who Jericho was talking to, he recognized me and was super pleasant and answered my question. But Jericho was pissed and thought I was a groupie or something. Cuba Gooding Jr. cut in line ahead of me and my sister for a pretzel at Disneyland. We were 10 and 8 years old, respectively. I met Tom Cruise once walking down Rodeo Drive. I went up to him and shook his hand. He pulled me in close and whispered "Hail Hydra" in my ear. My uncle works at a Vegas casino. None of the Kardashians or Jenners tip anyone, ever. He was with them for over 3 hours and didn't receive a dime and was treated like total garbage. Scott Disick, however, is a great tipper and great guy all around. I met Woody Harrelson at health food store. I didn't realize it was him. We were talking in line. At first I thought he was being an asshole, but it turns out he is actually a really cool guy. Ran into Pierce Brosnan while on vacation in Hawaii before Daniel Craig took the role of James Bond. He was in a gift shop and we bumped into each other. Out of surprise, I pulled out my finger gun and shot him in classic Bond fashion, right in the gut. He staggered back and held his stomach, slowly dying in this gift store in front of me. As a 12-year-old, it was the coolest thing ever. Met Naomi and Winona Judd at a meet and greet session at Kmart corporate headquarters. I had a Kmart store planned from their hometown for them to autograph. Winona was a complete uber bitch. She scribbled her name on it and then crunched up the paper and threw it at me with some sarcastic comment about rednecks and hillbillies. Then her mom, Naomi, took the paper, gently smoothed it out, and told me that it was the most thoughtful thing she had autographed all day. Very nice and genuine woman. How are those two blood related? Alec Baldwin. Oh, how I now despise that man. Back in 2002, I was at an event for work, and he was a special guest. He appeared to be somewhat intoxicated, and as he walked past me, he plowed into me, spilling my entire drink down the front of my outfit. Never said excuse me or I'm sorry or anything. Just was a total douchebag, and to this day I will not watch anything if I know he'll be in it. So yeah, I still hold a grudge. I saw Pete Rose at the airport on Thursday. He saw my Braves gear I was wearing and said Braves are getting beat, buddy. I asked for picture and he just replied the score, 6-0. I met Jeffrey Rush when I was working reception at a small hotel when he was filming The Daughter. I lent him my umbrella and recommended a cafe in town. Rather than catch the bus right outside, he decided to walk the 45 minutes into town. He came back and blew me a kiss as I returned my umbrella and said he liked the cafe. Reminded me of my late grandfather. He can rock a pink business shirt. Not my story, but my brother told me this happened to his friend in high school. She went to go see John Mayer live and she was super hyped because she'd opted for the VIP tickets that let you meet him after the concert. After the concert and waiting for the time to meet him, John Mayer came out of his room only to say, "If you're not gonna sleep with me, you may as well just go." Real classy fellow, that John Mayer.